Miss brought so much joy, couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, you know there are just 81 days until Christmas 2023, and just one more day until I go on vacation. Oh boy, I'm excited about that. I've had a crazy week this week, but we're going to escape that for a little while. We're going to talk about Star Wars for a little bit. Specifically, we're going to start talking about this last episode of Ahsoka Season 1. Where do you guys think we're headed? What's going on? What do you all think is happening? Hey, nice blue background. Thanks, Trev. But this is what's normally here. Normally, I'm using the OBS to do the chroma key and replace the blue with whatever background. But this laptop starts getting unhappy with me trying to do all that. So, hey, there's a way you all can join today's show. And that's by being one of our patrons or channel members. All of our channel members have access to join. You can join the live stream and talk about Star Wars. You can talk about Ahsoka. And you can find the link to join this live stream right now. You can find it on Discord within our members only channel there. You can find it on Patreon. If you're a patron, it's right there. No problem. It's the very first thing you'll see. And in YouTube, it's in the community tab for the channel. If you are one of our channel members, the link is there as well. So those are the places you can find the link. You can join. Come on and tell me what your thoughts are about this last episode and what's happening. There's a ton of stuff to talk about. Trev's talking about going to Duluth this weekend. Now we're going to Branson, Missouri. Our daughter lives out in Kansas City, and she's going to drive down. It's about 200 miles from Kansas City to Branson. So she's going to come down, and we're going to drive over there. We're going to spend a week out there enjoying some time with family. So that's what's getting ready to happen. And then, thank you, Ducky. I went on to another live stream about 2 hours ago. About 2 hours ago, I went over and was able to talk a bit about Ahsoka with a different community of folks. Was over in the we had a big panel of folks. It was the Side Scrollers is the name of the channel, Side Scrollers, and we talked about Ahsoka. Now the chat there wasn't liking Santa a whole lot. I was reading the chat and I was like, oh, I got to stay out of that. I did see some of you all there. Nikki was there giving me great support. She's wonderful. And I had Jason Ward making Star Wars. He was in the chat and he was sending me some direct messages as well. You guys are fantastic supporting me. And you know, that there's some of them really wanted to go into some discussion points that is a little too deep to get into in that conversation, but it was good. Yeah, Nikki, I've been harassed in chats before. You know what's fascinating to me, and I know I'm going on the side thing. I've got Jedi Mike in the back room here. We'll bring him in just a minute, but give you all a moment to join us as well. The fascinating thing here is how many fans who are not enjoying the series or whichever series, go, pick a series, whichever one you didn't like, that one, and how the what do they call them, toxic fandom attacks them and calls them fake fans and so on, so forth, name calling, just terrible things that some positive pro Disney Lucasfilm folks say about them. And then go watch the chat in that stream I was just on, what they were saying about me. It's like, hey, that's the way it is. If you disagree with somebody, it's real easy to start becoming a keyboard warrior. And I'm just not going to do that. Not going to do it. I can't do it. I don't watch Star Wars to get mad at other people. If I don't like the show, I don't like the show, and I'm out. But that's okay. Hey, I saw some other folks here in the chat. RG Energy, hello. Oh, good to see you here. Of course, we've had Trev and Ducky Momo. Mike Porter is in the house. Good to see you, Mike. And Vanessa Floria. A lot of you guys there at the end of the season made your way onto the season leaderboard for Ahsoka. The names that you see right there below? Those folks are going to get some free Star Wars Santa merch. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to buy it. It's not free. It's free to you, not free to me. I pay for it. I pay for the shipping, and you get some free merch. So you can go check out the merch store, see what you'd like to have Santa send to you. And if you can win in the predictions game, you might get it for free. Otherwise, you get to pay for it. That's how that goes. But we still have some computations. There's a couple of folks just in the running who may make it onto the leaderboard when all is said and done. This is an incomplete list. And for the season finale, speaking of which, for the season finale, look, we've got a ton of folks made it on. I got 3 pages of folks. We got Brian Stone. You can see Fred Ederline. Fred Ederline's on there for episode 8. Jumpin' Jamie, Timo, and the list goes on and on. You see Star Wars Fitz name just went by. Aggressively Relaxing. He's been hanging out with us. He made it onto the Wall of Fame. And then I'll let that scroll by. We'll go on to page 2. There are 3 pages, my friends. 3 pages of folks on the Wall of Fame for episode 8. It's fantastic. You don't get merch for making on the Wall of Fame. You get merch for making onto the leaderboard. Well, one thing you do get on the Wall of Fame. Oh, we had Ducky Momo in the back room for a hot minute, and then he dumped out on us. Maybe he'll be back. But you get to see your name show up on my show. That's how you can do it. You show you're smarter than Santa, you get on the list. And look at all the people that are smarter than Santa now. There's Brian, Kelly, Corlo, Ren, Don Basham, Ducky Momo. He's right there. There he is, making Star Wars. One of the few appearances of Jason Ward on the Wall of Fame. Mike Yaney, Mumbo Jimbo, and the list goes on there. You see Sam the Sham, who's been with us this season. Stephen Murphy. You guys, good job. Super Mouse made it on. There's Vanessa. Vanessa's in the chat. And then page 3. There's more. Wait. There's more. There's more. There's Nikki in the chat. Nikki made it on the Wall of Fame. Skywalker's Academy. Star Wars Meg. She made it on the Wall of Fame. And Stelina. Then we had a couple other folks just 1 point off. And I went ahead and listed their names. Daniel Fisher, a.k.a. Dan Untap. Ethan Frowood, and Star Wars Politics. Missed it by 1 point. So, hey, thank you all for being here. We're going to start bringing in guests and just make sure I catch up with everybody. Oh, Ducky had a work call. So maybe he'll get off the work call and be able to join us. Be a fan that you want to be. Amen, Mike Porter. Hey, Melvin. Dude, where you been? Good to see you. Good to see you. Night to Melvin. I tell you what, we don't see eye to eye on things, but that dude's smart. And he's got a tactical mind. he knows what he's doing over there, and he's brilliant. He's actually, if you hate him, you hate him. That's fine. But the dude is smart. You can't say that he doesn't know what he's doing, because he is absolutely. Oh, he says it's a fake account. Oh, that makes me sad. Okay. Anyway, I thought we had Melvin there. Hey, we got a couple of guests now. We're going to bring them on in. Jedi Mike and Trev. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Santa.
Hey. How you doing?
I know that I'm the anti-Melvin because I am not smart. I know nothing. I am the Bendu.
Very good. Hey, Trev, how you doing? Trev. Oh, you're
Pretty
muted.
good. How you doing, bud?
Oh, there you are. I just had a long delay on there. I'm good. So what did you think of the finale?
Oh, it was good. It was good. You know, I don't know. Like, it wasn't great, but it was good.
I'm with you. I gave it an 8 out of 10. If you put that on, if you're in school, that'll get you a B. That's good. Not great, but you can take that report card home and not worry about getting grounded with a B. You're okay. Mike, how did you like that finale?
It was a 9.5 for me. I thought some of the suspension of disbelief didn't work for me. There were parts of the volume and parts of the acting that still get to me, but I was hook, line, and sinker. Tremendous musical journey in this episode also. So I don't know. I don't know how it couldn't be above a 9 for me.
Well, for you, good. For me, the biggest thing is it's the beginning of a story. It's not it didn't feel like the end of a season. So if that makes any sense at all, I know this season is the beginning of Dave's story in some ways, because of course it did come from Mandalorian and all that. But in earnest, this is the first of his story. And when the season finished, I felt like we were at the beginning of the story, which may be fair. I mean, that's what it meant to do.
It feels like the end of Fellowship of the Ring, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
So it's like a part 1 of a 3-part story, right? That's honestly what it feels like.
Yeah, I agree with you. And how appropriate that you mentioned Fellowship of the Rings, because of how much visual similarity there was with
the statues and everything else, and
Minas Tirith or whatever it is, right? And the huge statues felt very Fellowship of the Rings to me. I agree with you completely there.
Or Jason said Willow. I didn't watch the Willow Disney Plus show because I don't need some fake Metallica in my life.
But Mike, you've watched the Willow movie, right? Like Mad Mardigan and stuff like that, right? Like you watched that movie, right? From 1985.
I understand the principles, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It begs a season 2, right? Or it begs, if it's the first part of a 3-part story, which
I think so.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Then what is part 2? Is it season 2? Is it Skeleton Crew? Is it Mandalorian? Is it the movie? What part 2 of this story?
I don't think it's going like that. Like, I see the publishing group and the story group. Again, my vision is all about different stories in different eras going to different things. And you guys want to zip it up and make sure that we get to Endgame, Star Wars' version of Endgame by 2027 or 2029. And I just see bigger whiteboards in Filoni's workroom. What do you think, Trev?
I think you can see my face there. I think when I say part 1, this is Fellowship of the Ring, I mean of the story in this era.
Right.
So for sure, maybe Filoni's got stuff about, or the Star Wars publishing group, story group, whatever, has stuff about the past, the future, and everything else. But for this particular story involving Thrawn and Ahsoka, this is just like a part one. And we're going to have, and maybe this part one includes just the Ahsoka series, maybe includes everything since Mando season 1 in this era up till now. And now we're going to have a phase 2, basically. This is the end of phase 1, and now we're going to have a phase 2. And maybe the phase 2 is including the movie, Mando season 4, maybe Ahsoka season 2, the Skeleton Crew, all that kind of stuff. And maybe there's more stuff in the after that, right? I feel like this is just, we're done the first part with the way that ended, and it's opening up stuff for future stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because like even in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, there's the Hobbit, and there's a Silmarillion, and there's like all this other stuff that exists in Tolkien's world, the stories outside of that 3 story arc, right? So if this is just the first part, then part 2 and part 3, I do expect, like, this ended at the end, like it's a cliffhanger. The whole thing is the end of the first part of the story. And I'm dying to know when we get to continue the story, what the direction is for it. Is there an Ahsoka season 2 going to happen before the movie? Is the movie part 2 of the story? Is Mandalorian season 4 part 2 of the story? Like, lay that out for me, just so I can get excited for seeing when, put my target on part 2,
Before I complain about everybody getting excited about figuring all that math out, I definitely love that Jason said, ooh, we might get a show with Ezra training Jason. Like, that sounded dope. Like, if we eventually get a Disney Plus show or something with that sounded really cool. But I want to go back to Trev. I see you now putting the cards out on the table. Maybe for me, we get the father, the daughter, and the Mortis thing as a spiritual vibe that stays with the Ahsoka show, and then we get some other threads that tie into the Mandoverse or something. I really want to talk about this Ahsoka episode and where the spirituality and the Force could go. But Trev, I also need to hear your thing on the Thrawn part and Will Morgan and how it ties together. Like, I'm curious.
How Morgan ties the Thrawn? Well, go ahead. Say what you were going to say there again, Mike.
How the old Thrawn trilogy, we honor that and we update it with. You've had a lot of thoughts about how it's going to update and how you see it playing out, and then also the Lord of the Rings overlap too. It's very confusing.
Well,
what up, Scotty?
Hello.
Well, long time no see. In regards to this episode, I just like hey Scotty. I just like you said, it left a lot of threads dangling that we can explore going forward, and I'm really into that. And I'm really into like everything Star Wars is doing right now, which I'm actually really kind of interested in because it's like, and I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm here, I'm talking about it. Like, I love it. I'm interested in the Bad Batch season 3, what that's going to explore with Mount Tantus and the clones. And maybe that's what you're referring to, Mike. What I was talking to in another thread there. What I was talking to a couple days ago or yesterday. I don't even remember now, but
yesterday. Where
I have the belief that, and from a marketing standpoint, I think you bring back Sam Jackson and in the Joris role as like Mace Windu, but in the Joris role in the Thrawn, in the Heir to the Empire Thrawn adaptation, right? But I don't know.
Yeah,
my thoughts are kind of all over the place right now. Go ahead. Go back to you, Brian.
I just really, the thing for me, and I want to hear Scotty. And Scotty, look, I got my cane in here.
Yeah, I mean, where do you?
I really think that Anakin training Ahsoka to train Sabine, who might be going to the dark side, and the father and the daughter and all that stuff in that other new beyond is so amazing. And I just wonder about that. All the other stuff is just gravy.
Why was the statue of the daughter destroyed? Because the daughter died in the Mortis arc in Clone Wars. Like, why is that statue?
I got a theory on that.
All three.
You mean the at the end, the statue that we see that's kind of destroyed?
Yeah.
All right, so this is gonna be like crazy theory, but the pyramid back there is literally like a Malachor. So at the top, that blinking that he's seeing is literally one of those red, like glowing type of holocron. Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
like that temple, in my opinion.
Oh,
I think something happened where now that beacon is blinking, and when that happened, it was literally like a Mount Doom type event that sent a shockwave across the planet, and it destroys that piece of it. I think because it's obviously very dark side oriented, that's meant as a symbolism of like whatever is there calling to him, or the beginning, or whatever it is. I think it's all connected to like the destruction of the daughter. I really think, and I'm, my expectations are set at about $1 billion. So people are going to obviously continue to call me a shill, which is fine. But I
Bring it
really
on.
think
Bring it
that
on.
this could also tie into the dawn of the Jedi, or dawn of the Force. If Mortis is true to be like the balance, I think they're really like playing with like the wills, if you will, with this whole father, mother, daughter thing. Like these sentients are controlling the balance. We definitely interfere with it. Like Balin, I think, is potentially going to awaken something that we didn't know existed. I don't want to go down like the Abeloth path just yet, but if what Thrawn is doing on Dathomir is connected at all to the body of Kujet, which is the sage of the Zepho, like it's all connected. I'll end my rant there because I have another theory about some things.
Oh my goodness. Well, here's the fun thing, Scotty, and all you guys, is that this finale set up us to have discussions for a decade. Like we can keep going on speculation theories forever. And then as we develop this further, like even if you go back, right, let's take this out. We're watching back in the day. We're going right through the Clone Wars, right? And we get the Mortis arc come through. When that arc ends, you're left with some questions like, was that real? What just happened? Like, what's happening? And they go back. You could still speculate a good bit about all that. We think we know things, but we don't really know things. And now we see these Mortis gods here, and we're like, whoa, wait a second. That whole Mortis thing was like a thing in space, right? It was like this sphere, like a rectangle cube kind of thing they went into, right? And then they experienced this world on there. They come out. So it was out in space is my point. This is on a planet. We've got huge old statues of these three folks. So you're like, whoa, what's the deal there? All three of them died in that arc, right? The father killed himself. Anakin killed the son. The daughter gave her life for Ahsoka. And so all of that happened. Where are we going with it? I am shocked, first of all, that it's so clear. Those are the Mortis gods. There's no question. Yeah. There's no debating that. Those are the Mortis gods. So Dave is going back to that story and he's bringing it into this story. How? What? Oh my goodness.
I think that moment, Ahsoka, Anakin, or whatever else were the antithesis of the Mortis thing, and that brought balance to the Force. And now we're going to see the Force not just be controlled with one, set triangle of expectation, but many facets of the Force in different types of creatures and different types of universes over many different ways. I think the sisters and their type of magic and this type of story is just one of the many possible things that we can do in the future and the past.
They are gods. That's why there are statues built of them.
Yeah.
Some people worshipped them for different reasons, for more nefarious causes, thought that they could manipulate the balance. But I think in the end, they all realize like destruction of that mountain and things like that is because they pushed it too far to the dark, or,
I wonder if that, like the Dawn of the Jedi movie that Mangold is supposed to direct, or if he's going to, whatever's going to happen with that, if that was probably going to set up, like if it was going to go way back, maybe it was going to take place on this planet, right?
And a lot of people are saying that, like, you know, these Night Sisters made a deal with Thrawn to get off of this planet and go
Yeah.
back to Dathomir. They're running from whatever it is. And I think that honestly, like, it's probably too on the nose, but that could have been a Malachor type event that killed all of the Night Sisters on that planet and just like sent a shockwave out. And that's why the remaining ones are trying to get off the planet. I do think it will all connect to Dawn of the Jedi, Dawn of the Force, because the first people who discovered these gods, if you will, and even the realization that they can control the Force. It's like anything. It's like us discovering, you know, sustainable energy. Like if we ever discover sustainable energy and what that would change within our lives, like we could probably develop it. We just don't have it yet. So I feel like it's the same.
Let me ask the question Rural Farm Boy is asking. What's that father statue pointing to?
That mountain that Scotty was just
Directly to the
talking
mountain.
about.
Yeah.
There's that. It looks like a pyramid almost, but it's like a mountain, and it's like it has like it looks like it could be an old Sith temple that's just that's just been covered with whatever like stuff's grown in over time, over thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
And you notice that the eyes are blacked out, and this is the home world of the Dathomirian witches. So it's like the father is pointing there, but it may be because they want you to go there or something. Like this is I don't know. It's so deep.
The same way the artwork changed on the to open up the world between worlds and Rebels.
Actually,
the hand changed, right? The father's hand changed. And well, go ahead, Scotty. Go ahead.
There's an episode in Star Wars Visions where they go to this place, and it's the one they're fighting in the rain, but there's two statues on either side. And it really reminded me of Neverending Story, the statues that shoot the beams out, and you got to like be worthy to pass through it. But it kind of has that vibe. It's just like, this is ancient. Like the balance of the Force was here at one point, I think.
I want to ask this other question, and I see No You is in the chat, kind of challenging some things. But why is Thrawn such a feared general when not a single plan he had in the series worked?
He didn't have any resources. Like I wrote that somewhere else yesterday, but he didn't really have any resources here. He's just doing what he can do with what he had, and he won.
Well, yeah,
he did what he wanted to do.
When we meet different villains across the Star Wars saga, right? You go back to Episode 1. Vader, right away, we see why we're afraid of him because he's killing people. But,
Episode 4.
Yeah, Episode 4. My brain, I'm like, that's the first movie I saw. That's the first one. Yeah. So Episode 4, Star Wars: New Hope. Vader, he's killing people. We know him. Tarkin, why is he feared? Or is he feared?
Well, wasn't Thrawn like doing pretty well in Rebels until Ezra?
So if your only exposure to Thrawn, you never heard of him before until this show, you don't know. You don't have a full context. Now, Trev read the old Heir to the Empire trilogy back in the day. I've read all the new novels. I have a pretty deep understanding of who Thrawn is, at least in the novels, but I don't think we've seen enough of his story to know why we should be afraid of him yet. He's a Grand Admiral. He has the rank of Grand Admiral. Who else had the rank of Grand Admiral in the Empire? He's a powerful leader in the Empire. That's all you know about him at this point. That's all you need to know about him right now. We'll see what he becomes when we really get rolling. But
I feel like that's why that's why the New Republic they're right there with the casual fans. It's like, here's a general that was not like, oh, General Thrawn just defeated us at the Battle of whatever. Like, no, it was Vader primarily and or Palpatine and his forces. You could even call Thrawn a contingency plan. So the name Thrawn is not much of a threat, but now that he is returned to the galaxy and they'll see that he has all these Night Sisters, and like now he's going to bestow his strategic ability upon this unknowing New Republic. Like, I don't think they have a chance. They've been trying to demilitarize as well. Like, that was something Mon Mothma put into place immediately after the destruction of the second Death Star. She wanted to remove all of their military forces because she thought that would prevent future wars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
they're
Thrawn is on the same level as what's his name who was doing the Death Star in Rogue One. I can't think of that. He's on that guy's level, right? So he's below the Grand Moffs. He's
Herzog,
below Vader.
or who do you mean?
The
Krennic.
Krennic, thank you. I couldn't think of his name for a second. He's on the same level as Krennic, right? So, like, him and Krennic are both on the same level. They're below Tarkin, below Vader, and there's in the old canon, there's something like 12 Grand Admirals. There's not a whole lot. There's like 12 Grand Admirals, the Grand Moffs, but they're the ones in charge of the fleets, right? Like all the different kind of fleets, and so when Thrawn's fleet is the 7th fleet, so each Grand Admiral had their own fleet. Right?
That's actually a really good comparison because you can see with how Krennic acts, how desperate he is for position and more like power. He was like, no, this was my idea. So that is the level they're on. Thrawn is just doesn't care about that status.
We should point out Thrawn. So, and again, I'm pulling from a lot of novels, and if you guys don't care, that's fine. But I'm just
please, because I haven't read them. Those are ones I haven't got to yet.
He doesn't kill people if he doesn't have to kill people. And in this show, he didn't have to kill people. He just wanted to get away. He's like, if I get away and leave them here, I'm good with that. All right, I don't have to kill them.
Yeah.
I just need to get away. And they can stay here and live out their lives. Good on you. I'm out. He is not a ruthless, maniacal.
One of the first things they do is they always compare Thrawn. In the first appearance of Thrawn, they compare him to Vader because, like, for example, in Empire Strikes Back, when a guy screws up on the Executor, Vader kills him, right?
Yeah.
When a guy screws up, Vader kills him. And one of the first opening scenes of like the Heir to the Empire books, they have a similar scene with Thrawn, and Thrawn's like, I don't waste resources.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't waste resources, and like, so he doesn't kill him, and he demotes him or something like that. I don't remember specifically, but it gets until the point until if he's not willing to learn, then Thrawn will kill him. But Thrawn always gives guys a chance, and then he kind of does. Like,
in the novels, there's a place where where a group of folks ambush them in the middle of the night and try to kill them, and he figures out who they are. What's he do? He has them sent to a flight academy. In many ways, they get promoted faster. They're going to a better academy. They're going to a better school. But they're not here to bother him anymore. But he puts them in a place where they can succeed.
You're talking about when those people jumped Eli Vanto?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good call, Santa.
He didn't seek to have them, punished. He said that their punishment will be not knowing if they were going to be punished. And we're going to send them here. Later on, you see that one of the ones that he sent to the flight school is actually outranks the guy that he jumped, right? Like Eli Vanto.
Yeah.
And he kind of exerts some power over Eli. But I don't want to go.
You got to read that, Scotty. You got to read that omnibus or whatever. That's fucking dope.
I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole. It's just that's not what Thrawn's trying to do, right? He's not trying to just kill all his enemies and lay waste to everybody. That's not what he's about. He's about accruing power to beat back a bigger threat, and we'll have to get there maybe someday. We'll see. Right? What did
Lucky's upset that Kaz's dad was right the whole time or something? I don't know.
No, he's joking. He left them alone. They would be slowly plodding along with the cricket creatures and never catch up. They only catch up because he tries to kill them. Yeah, he doesn't try to kill them. He's just like, I need to make sure they don't get here before we get away. So send the TIE fighters. He doesn't want to lose those fighters. And you notice when one of them dies, he says, put them in for commendation. I want to make sure that people know that he doesn't just they're not expendable resources. He wants their names written down. And and it's to slow them down. It's to keep them back. Why does he call ground assault instead of just air superiority? Because he's worried that he's going to lose more troops. He already lost 2 TIE fighters. You send out 17 TIE fighters, you might lose 17 TIE fighters. He doesn't need to lose them. He needs to get away. He doesn't care about killing them. He cares about getting away. So it just comes to a basic understanding who Thrawn is, what he's about. And I know the story didn't give that to you, right? If you don't buy into it because the story didn't give it to you, good on you. But that's where I come from.
But it did give it to you. On paper, it gave it to you in very small, digestible junior novel chunks. Hello.
Yeah.
The
Very
junior
good.
novels are dope.
They are. No, you're not wrong.
Did you read the Jedi Academy ones from back in the day, Mike?
I don't think I read those. Are those canon? I mean, those are the EU.
No, those are expanded universe, but they were great.
Speaking of expanded universe,
Yeah.
I got a theory. I got a big theory. So I don't think it's a coincidence that we went to another galaxy and that now Thrawn and we know our galaxy can develop tech that can travel to other galaxies. I also don't think it's a coincidence that Cal Kestis found this wormhole type tech and now is traveling with a droid that has history of the tech that the High Republic had. I think Dave Filoni is launching like his own extended universe, like brand new. He will continue to bring in the names we know, the references we've heard, like Rakata,
Zepho.
Exactly. Zepho is going to be like the fulcrum, like the balancing point of connecting all of this stuff and going way back to what they want to create as like the new Dawn. But I really think we're going to hear names like Yuzong Vong. I think it would be really, really interesting if Thrawn, because we don't really know, like novels don't have him being defeated and killed, right? To my knowledge, there's no like end to the Thrawn story as of yet.
Yeah, there is.
In the current canon, no.
In the current.
No, not
So,
the current canon. No.
Like
In the old
for
canon,
me,
yeah.
for me, I think it would be nutty if he just goes home at one point.
Yes.
Like builds his army, returns home now that he has the tech to travel back through to his galaxy. And then, from there, because really like it was the security of our this galaxy being secure and an empire existing here is all he needed in order to feel secure at home. He feared the Jedi and the Force users and those kind of things from this galaxy being able to invade and mess with him over there. So I think once he realizes like, oh, Palpatine's still here, but it's different now, without a defeat, like I could see him just going, taking his forces and going.
Does Thrawn in this episode or this series, does he know Palpatine's dead at this point?
That's a good question, Trev.
Right. He's been gone.
Because Morgan's the only one that really could have told him. So I don't know if
I don't think
if Morgan gave him that information or if she didn't.
Keep saying for the Empire, so I don't think he does.
Everybody out there seems clueless. I mean, Ezra seems especially clueless. So that's just part of suspension of disbelief when you're far out like that, I guess.
Yeah, they don't tell us what he knows, and I'm dying to know. That's one of the reasons on the episode I gave it 8 out of 10 instead of like a 9 or 10, because I don't know what Thrawn knows, and I feel like I should know what he knows. At least from that perspective, is the Emperor dead? Is the Empire still exist? What's the state of the galaxy? I don't know that he knows any of that. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We don't know. We can infer. I think Trev named it. We can infer that he doesn't know. But we. I mean,
there's even I talked about this with Star Wars Obsession, but obviously because we reach as far as we can with some of this stuff. But I think there's even a possibility of Thrawn surviving and surpassing all of this, and then coming back as a threat with his species in even the Rey future type stuff.
But he's going to be
with his
I see what you're saying.
Like, say the Yuzong Vong really pushes him out of where he is, and he has to flee to our galaxy or something. So like
you're touching base on it, and Ducky touched base on it here too, and so it ties together. Thrawn was an Empire simp because he was wanting to use them as a barrier for the ascendancy, for the Chiss ascendancy. And there's this huge threat called the Grisk, and the Grisk have already made forays into the Empire, and they've made forays into the Ascendancy. And Thrawn is trying to build up a fleet, a strong enough force between what the Chiss Ascendancy has and what the Empire has to be able to fight them back and preserve the Ascendancy. It's all about preserving the Ascendancy, and everything he's doing is for that means. He even mentions at one point he knows that the Emperor is evil and he's just waiting for him to die. When the Emperor dies, then he can take control. So
and again, and that's exactly where he's at right now. When he's comes back to the main galaxy, that's where he's at. He's the highest ranking Empire person left.
Yeah, carry on without me. I'll be right back.
So he's the highest ranking Empire person left. And so he's going to take what the Imperial remnant is what's left, and he's going to bring them all together, right? He's going to bring them all together. He's going to have whatever they have left, and he'll launch his attack on the New Republic, right? So, and that'll be to take control of that fleet as well, take control of all their resources, so he can defend against the Grisk. That's his whole.
All of it seems like he has to do so much to get himself to that point, and that's where I'm just like even assembling an army battalion, like where all these people are just going to come out of the woodwork. These ex-Empire people, ships to put them in.
So here's what I suspect with that. And sorry, I had to step out. I had a call I had to pick. But if he goes back, he realizes the Emperor's dead. He wants to amass this power. The Grisk are still his main concern. If he then takes his toys and goes to the Ascendancy, that leaves everything set for the First Order to step in. There's no more Empire left.
That's
Empire
right.
remnant left. It leaves space for the First Order to come in. The Empire's gone, and Thrawn is gone. He doesn't care about what they do. It's not his problem. And we pick up into the sequel trilogy. Post-sequel trilogy, Scotty, I'm with you that I think you could have the Yuuzhan Vong eventually come in then. Right? Like
they're writing canon books, events that take place after all of this. We know the Battle of Jakku is something that took place. Yeah. The aftermath trilogy.
The Battle of Jakku is before what just happened in Ahsoka, though. Like that takes place the year after. So
Thrawn is in another galaxy while the remnant is being defeated.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Because that happens the year after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
so I mean, in that book, the remnant that we know of find the Eclipse, which is like one of the first dreadnought, and they don't explain how they find it. They're just literally traveling deep space, find it. That takes them out into Exegol with the First Order. Hux and Sloane start it from there. So that's literally where that book ends. And I don't know, man. I don't see Thrawn being able to pull the ranks he needs to take over a galaxy or even trigger a battle type event. That's
I think he's going to go back.
He's not trying to. He's trying to get back to his people. He was always trying to help.
That's my hope.
Okay, well,
he has this tech now. He has this tech now for the first time ever. That's where I'm at.
Okay, but so Scotty, in the novels that I'm really comfortable with talking about and everything that I'm really aware of, he goes and he takes over all the New Republic shipyards and he's building ships. He finds the Katana fleet, which is 40 dreadnoughts.
This is the novels, where he meets Anakin and everything too? Or
no. These are novels from 1991, 92, 93. So this is what they'll be like. So he takes over a bunch of the New Republic shipyards. He's building their ships. He's building ships for this fleet. He finds the Katana fleet, which is the dreadnoughts. He staffs them with clones, and each one of those dreadnoughts has like 25,000 clones in them because he's cloning people like crazy. Like he's using they're called Sparty cylinders, I believe, is what the cloning technology is called in those books. And he's cloning stormtroopers and everything else, and he's staffing all these dreadnoughts, and he has tons. Like he's got like probably 1 million troops at that point via clones and and he uses the Jedi Master that he finds, which is Joruus C'baoth.
Yep.
He uses him to control the clones, so they don't have to communicate with each other. They don't have to use any kind of communication because the Jedi who's not really a Jedi. He's more of a dark Jedi at this point, but that's not really defined. But he's controlling the clones, and he ends up actually because there's always a rivalry between the two of them, between the Jedi Master and Thrawn, for like control of all these clones and control of everything. But they're using each other for beneficial ends. But so that's how he takes over the galaxy in the. He comes to the brink of taking over the galaxy in those books. He kind of ultimately the Nogri commando kills him. Rook kills him, and that's what kind of ends the story. But
I think that's going to be one of his priority number one is finding a Force user that will side with him, like Balin and Shin, because he knows Jedi exist here, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be convinced that like Order 66 didn't actually work.
I think he really just wants to get back to the Chiss ascendancy with as much firepower as he can.
If they don't go that direction, though, and they kind of have him hanging out here, I think he's definitely going to be motivated to get another Force user on his side as soon as possible.
I like what you guys are thinking with the Chiss ascendancy and everything, but I think his story is going to end in this era. I think he's going to be killed. I think if they're adapting Heir to the Empire, I think he's going to be killed. And there's other stories after that can be adapted as well, like where they use a clone of Thrawn later on to inspire, like in the Chiss. There's a Hand of Thrawn duology later on that came out in like 97 and 98, and that leads into the new Jedi Order, which is the Yuzhan Vong. So then that's the Chiss, just the Chiss knowing about the Yuzhan Vong prior to the main galaxy and everything else, and they're using a clone of Thrawn to make people aware of it. I guess I can't really remember.
Yeah, they use an actor pretending to be Thrawn in order to get the remnant pieces to come together. Each of the moths or whatever are kind of building their own fiefdoms, and they bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn because he's the one guy that can pull them all together into one united force. So it's a kind of an end around, one last shot to maybe get the Empire back on its feet, and then they figure that out.
And I mean, you can still have stuff in them, like you know how they introduced the Maw in Solo, like the Maw, and there's. In the EU books, the Empire has a thing called the Maw installation, which is like and it's a subreddit on Reddit actually too, where they talk about a lot of Star Wars techie stuff. It's called the Maw installation, and it's an Empire base that develops technology, secret technology, and all that kind of stuff. And it's almost impossible to get to because you can't fly through the Maw at all. This
discussion is so good, and we've got a lot of time to continue it. We've talked a little bit.
Anyway, back to Ahsoka. I'm sorry.
No, we're still in Ahsoka. We kind of talked about Balin and maybe tying into the Mortis gods and where is that going. We talked about that a little bit and speculated on it. We talked about Thrawn, him coming back, and what's going to happen with him in the galaxy. We don't know. This is more speculation. There's a couple of other big pieces that we need to kind of touch base on. And let's take the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest one in my mind, although not that easy.
Low hanging fruit in Star Wars? What
about Shin? Where's Shin headed? What's her? Just speculate on. We get this cliffhanger with her standing with the sword overhead, and she's going to kind of lead those raiders, right? What's up with that?
So why does she want to lead them?
She's the boss.
Like to attack Ahsoka and Sabine and the Naughty.
I think she just gets to be in charge. I'm the boss.
I think
now.
Number one, I think survival. But she's definitely looking for people to lead, or she wanted to be Balin. Kind of like speculate that he did train her in that sense of like one to hold the power, one to seek it, kind of. Maybe not a rule of two.
Why didn't she go back to the Chimera?
Right.
No affiliation. She's always questioned, who are these witches? Like, why? She's very skeptical, Shin.
Yeah, but Balin told her, you want power, go find your place. She wants power in the Empire. Go back to Thrawn. Go find your place there. Well, he basically tells her, I'm paraphrasing, but he tells her something along those lines.
Right.
Why doesn't she do that? So where is she in episode 8? Where is Shin? Other than that last scene. What is she doing?
She fled from them basically because she was defeated. Did
Yeah.
they destroy her lightsaber? It was cut.
No, she has.
Or no, she had it. Yeah. That was after. Yep.
I mean, someone, I don't even remember.
She'll be a threat later on, I think.
I don't think it was Star Wars Explained. Someone was talking about the fact that she might end up being the Mara Jade role that I don't want. Like, I thought in episode 7, she was going to go back to Thrawn and go back. I don't know who was talking about that, but now I don't see that. Now it seems more like a plot that has to do with Anakin training Ahsoka, training Sabine, and having an extra lightsaber there. And, like, I don't know.
To people who are in support of the comparison, no offense, I hate that theory because there is so many years, there is still space to actually do a Mara Jade character.
Oh,
And I think why would Shin hate Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, I don't think.
When did they say? When did they correlate this?
Well,
because Mara Jade's big thing is that she wants to kill Luke Skywalker because it's the last when the Emperor dies.
Say that?
When do they say it? What do you mean?
When did she confirm those motives?
That's in the Empire books. There's Heir to the Empire books.
That's
Shin's motivations.
No. Like if they're gonna if they wanted to make Shin Mara Jade, Mara Jade's motivations.
Okay, I was confused. Sorry.
If Mara Jade's motivations are to kill Luke Skywalker because that's the Emperor's last thought before he dies is kill Luke Skywalker, and he sends out that command as he's dying to Mara Jade. And Mara Jade's she's called an Emperor's Hand, which is probably what the Inquisitors kind of are now, right? So the Emperor's Hand would be kind of like what the Inquisitors are in the new canon.
Yeah, the only thing that I could connect it to is the archetype, not the particulars, right?
Right.
So what you're saying about hating or wanting to kill Luke Skywalker, that was her primary motivation. But if you look at the character as a whole, she's a Force user, the Emperor's Hand, right? She's part of the Empire. She's a Force user, and she's opposed to the good guys. Shin checks those boxes, right? So you can make the connection that Shin is a Mara Jade type, and that I don't think she would be involved with Luke Skywalker. If anybody,
Ezra.
It would be Ezra, or this is 2023. Sabine, right?
Yeah.
So you could end up with a relationship.
So is it that Mara Jade was after Vader, or during, or the deal breaker would be that in our current canon, Palpatine never sent this mental. He never had a sleeper cell Jedi waiting.
Right.
Maybe that's
and
what
she couldn't just come out of nowhere and have been in hiding because Luke hasn't shown himself.
Yeah, she was alive when the Empire was going on. This is only like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, right? 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
but it was Palpatine's dying. So she was existing as a Jedi, she was known.
Mara Jade was just Mara Jade. You're talking about Mara Jade. She was just a Force user, and she was called the Emperor's Hand. It's basically an assassin for.
But as far as like being known in the galaxy, she never surfaced until after that point. Like she was a hidden apprentice.
Right.
Yeah, she would have been like an assassin. You know what I mean? Like she would have been doing stuff, but she wouldn't have been known by anyone, right?
Yeah. So forget that now because Shin's with Ahsoka on that place. I kept talking about when they go back to Dathomir, they're going to revive Asajj Ventress. So a Ventress can be the hand.
To Thrawn, yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Does Ventress dying on Dathomir? Does Dark Disciple end with Ventress dying on Dathomir? Where does she die?
I don't remember where she died. I know she's dead, but I can't remember where.
I think Ventress lives would be cool instead of Maul.
It would be cool. I'm just curious about if I'm just to finish the correlation between Mara Jade.
Yeah, Mara Jade.
Mara Jade was the Emperor's Hand. She was a private assassin. She was a Force user. She worked for him personally, and then she became an assassin. She wanted to kill Luke Skywalker. She wanted to complete the Emperor's last thought. Eventually, she comes around. They get married. They have kids. Right. Luke and Mara. I don't think any of that's happening. None of it, right? None of that's happening. But I do think we could see Mara Jade become the Mara Jade, or not Mara, Shin Hati become the Mara Jade type, where she's working for the Empire or the bad guys, more generically, and she is a Force user who then turns to the light, joins with Ezra or Sabine, and the two of them then have a relationship that moves on in that similar kind of vein of Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker. I don't think we are going to get a.
But Sabine here's the same.
Maybe it's Balin's last command is kill. That could be something like that too, right? Like Balin's last command is kill Sabine, kill Ezra, kill Ahsoka.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
So something like that could happen, but I just don't know that we're going to see. And Scotty, I know you were thinking that there's still time to add an actual
triggered
Mara Jade to the canon, right? And she could have a relationship with Luke, and they could have kids, or they could.
Remember, I thought Dr. Aphra might be that for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, wouldn't you want Mara Jade to be that cunning and us to not know of this plan, this contingency? Like, it literally is the Palpatine contingency to the Force users. He had one for everything. He has no contingency when Vader fails. Like, Vader was his contingency, Vader and the Inquisitors. So when they failed, you didn't think he had a contingency for Vader?
What was his contingency on Jakku? What was the Jakku temple?
In the Aftermath books, and then some of the other novels, he does have a different contingency. His contingency comes into this Project Cinder.
Yeah,
but that's not a specific anti-force using force user deterrent.
No,
I'm speaking right. I'm saying that like this character, Mara Jade, is his like, I know the chosen one exists. I know, I've seen, etc., that he will have offspring. Here is my contingency for the light side.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So Shin, we don't know what she's going to do. You think?
Unfortunately, it's going to feel like somehow Palpatine knew the whole time, but he did, man.
Shin returns to Balin, or Shin turns good.
I think Shin turns good. I'm on that. I'm on that train of thought that Shin will turn good, and Balin will die. And I think like what going forward, like if there is an Ahsoka season 2, or if wherever they're picking up the story of Peridia with Sabine, Ahsoka, Shin, and Balin, they might even end up teaming up together to do something. But I have a feeling it'll be similar to Twilight of the Apprentice season 2 of Rebels, where Maul and Ezra, and then Kanan and Ahsoka, they all kind of team up to get to the top of the Sith Temple.
Yeah.
Especially now that you mentioned that, Scotty, with the Sith Temple there, that it just makes you think like he may be like rhyming with season 2 of Rebels kind of thing and doing like a similar thing.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? Is she going to turn, or is she going to join back up with Balin?
I definitely see the turn nuggets, right? Ahsoka's like that scene was so forced. Ahsoka's like, I can help you. Yeah, I think she would turn to the good side.
And Scotty, what do you think?
I think she will. I think that right now she feels abandoned by Thrawn, feels abandoned by Balin. The only person offering to help me is a Jedi who I do not want help from. I think once she can kind of let go of all that, or she's not going to even let go, she's going to like dive into the hatred she has for her master. And I could even see the planet, her connecting to whatever was calling him at some point. Like she could start to feel this same kind of pull. But I don't think she's going to be siding with anybody. I think she could stay a perfectly good villain, become even more powerful now that she's letting go or diving more into the dark side by herself. That's what I would like to see.
I want to take it seriously. No use says I'm here for the Shin comic cosplay. Like, I think she's got some High Republic garb on. So I would love to see her join the good side and kind of have that High Republic look that ties into the
No You is telling why everybody should start going to Comic Cons just to go see the Shin cosplayers. There you go.
There's cheap.
So again, wherever these story threads pick up, and let's say they do go to the Sith temple or whatever that is, the Sith temple, do they? I was just thinking they have to, like, because the whales are gone. How are they getting? They have to go through the world between worlds to get back there.
Yeah, they'll have to be
So they're not going to connect with they're not going to do the whale story again, going back with the whales. I can't see them doing that.
That's where the portal opened up in Rebels, was literally right at the top when it opened up and everything. So it's possible.
The portal for what?
In Rebels, when Ahsoka is fighting Vader, it's at the peak of Malachor, where that massive holocron opens. So right where that blinking light's coming from, the exact same thing can happen.
Guys,
But at the bottom of the Jedi temple on Lothal.
I feel terrible. I have a meeting.
The Purgle logo on one direction says Purgle go this way, and then the other logo says cats. We thought they were Loth cats, but they're the other wolves go this way.
Yeah,
so you're right. Maybe this temple is sending them back.
I'm flat out of time. I'm past due for a meeting that started 2 minutes ago. I'm so sorry because we haven't even got all the way through. Right? 'Cause we haven't talked about where Ahsoka and Sabine are headed. We haven't talked about Ezra's future. We haven't got to so much more to talk about with this episode. We just scratched the surface. But you know what? There's really
Let's do a part two. Do a part two tomorrow.
We can continue this conversation for weeks and months. And perhaps even tomorrow. Yes, I think that's a brilliant idea, Trev. But I have got to call it now. I am so sorry. I'm
sorry we got lost in the weeds.
No, this was great. I do have a Mike Porter dad joke to close on real fast, and then I got to run.
The weeds. That's what happens with Scotty.
It said, "Why isn't it good to have a Star Wars droid?" Oh, wait a minute. This is the old one. This is yesterday's. Hold on. I've got a new Mike Porter dad joke. Mike Porter dad joke. I forgot to put it in the chat. He sent it for me. What would we say if the apprentice to Balin's skull hurts a Jedi? So think about that. What would we say if the apprentice to Balin's skull hurts a Jedi? Would say, that's a shin.
I'm going to give that one Kenobi. Love you, Mike Porter.
All right. That was a perfect response. Fantastic response to the Mike Porter dad joke. Guys, thank you for coming on. I will try to get scheduled to do to part two of this conversation to continue on. We've got a lot to go. So thank you all so much. And I've got to run. Thank you all for being here. Until next time, my friends. Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always.